Big up meerkat. I need banana, tasty banana. Put banana in my mouth, tasty banana. I need banana, tasty banana. Please don't peel it, comes in there. Put banana in my mouth, squeeze banana.
All right. Man, first of all, I needed the day off because I was so worn out. Last weekend, took a ton out of me. It really did. Essentially made me lose my voice, and I was trying to still tough through it with like half a voice, right? I was like, oh my God, I could barely talk. I sounded terrible. Not to say that I'm 100%. I'm not. I still have like a little tickle down there. And I definitely have the postnasal drip going on today, which really sucks. But there's nothing you can do about it. That's, neither here nor there. I recovered my voice. Obviously, you can hear. I can talk fully again, which is great. All the swelling that I had in there, and it went down. I was like, thank God. So that's good. And I had opportunity to spend time with my wife, although admittedly, again, more than half the day, us running around doing errands and things. But you got to make the most of it, right? So we had a lot to do. Got up, got ready for the day, headed out, and ran a bunch of errands. We had to get Jasper pet food this week. He was low on his cat food. I don't like how pet food, it's cat food. We had to get him cat food and grab a few odds and ends while we were out. Then we had to go grocery shopping. Now this week, we had to basically penny pinch. This last week, I told you guys over the weekend, what happened was there was like 1 or 2 days where things were really good on stream, and then all of a sudden, other days were really slow. I'll be honest, the Quarry, all right, really did not garner much support on streams. I don't know what it was. It's weird because typically, even if you have a slow day on stream, it evens out over time. You'll have a better day than a slower day. For some reason, the entirety of the time I was playing the Quarry, it was pretty much slow support. I don't know if people just didn't like the game. I don't know if it was something in the air. I don't know. Because all the other games I've been playing recently actually did better. Seriously, like today we're playing WWE 2K22. That was doing better support-wise than the Quarry. Skyrim, as a daytime stream, was doing better than the Quarry. So, what can you do, right? You guys did rally with support on Monday, and I really appreciated that. It essentially allowed us to afford everything we needed to do on our day off, as long as we didn't go crazy. So we were basically kind of penny pinching. We were like, okay, this week we're not getting this. This week we're not going to get that. We're going to cut down on this. What can we do for a meal with the ingredients that maybe we have left over from other meals, and then just add 1 or 2 to make the meal rather than make a fresh meal. So that's essentially what we were really doing. And we actually were able to significantly cut down on the grocery bill this week. Now, the thing is, you can't do that every week. Like some weeks, you'll run out of stuff. Oh, we're out of paper products. We're out of a cleaner for the house. We're out of this key ingredient that's expensive. Like what we do is when we go to buy food ingredients, we'll buy like a giant pack of chicken thighs, and then that chicken thighs is good for 2 to 3 meals. So that way we space it out. Well, every once in a while you got to buy the chicken thighs, and that's when you got to drop the big amount of money. You see, so. It just so happened this week we were able to kind of crunch and penny pinch and save and get it down a lot. We were like, oh, this is good for once. The grocery bill, wasn't insanely high like it's been. The past 2 years, the grocery bill's been going up and up and up because of inflation. We're not buying anything extravagant, and we're not buying anything new. We buy all store brand stuff. Literally everything we can buy store brand, we buy store brand to save money. We don't go for name brands for better flavor or whatever. We don't care because we're just trying to save money. And the grocery bill keeps going up. Like, geez, man, you would think the government would do something about that, but that would mean that they're actually competent. Anyway, sorry. I didn't mean to go off. Anyway, so we went grocery shopping and then flipped back home. I don't know why we flipped. We came back home, unpacked and everything, and Jasper was very confused because typically in a normal day, we're not coming back multiple times during our day out. And Jasper's like, what are you doing at home now? He thought we were home for good. And we're like, sorry, buddy, we're actually going out again. So obviously we went out and we got our hair cut. All right. While we were out, couldn't believe it, someone recognized me for the first time in like 2.5 to 3 years. I think the last time someone recognized me while we were out doing something was like 2019. And we just happened to be in the supermarket, and someone recognized me, a tall gentleman, younger fellow. I think he actually worked at the supermarket. I'm not sure. And he looked at me. He goes like this. He's like a squint. He's like, "Are you Darkside Phil?" And I was like, "Yes." He was like, "Oh, cool, fist bump." And we fist bumped. He was walking away. And he's like, "Oh, it's cool to see you out. You know, no one ever really sees you." I was like, "Yeah, I know." I gave him a thumbs up, and that was it. Pretty simple. A nice interaction, a pleasant fellow, and I was pleased to run into someone who was nice. It's always nice to run into someone who's nice. So that was a nice thing. Shout out to that gentleman. You were a good person. It was nice to run into you. A nice interaction. Okay. So we went and got our haircut. All right. And then after that, we were like, okay, it's dinner time. It's time for our one meal out for the week. And we can actually afford it because you guys supported me over the weekend and we penny pinched. So we had enough money. And I was like, so where do we want to go? We're talking about all these different places that we could go. And it was basically between, excuse me. Ooh, gassy. It was basically between Italian food or sushi. Italian food we have not eaten out in years. The last time we went to an Italian restaurant was before the pandemic. We used to go at least twice a year. There's a couple of Italian restaurants around here that are half decent, not great. There's one that's like more Americanized Italian food, and there's one, not Olive Garden, it's actually better than that. And then there's another one that's actually a more local restaurant, and they have a good menu. The problem is they're a little bit more, they're smaller. You have to kind of like make a reservation. They're not expensive, but you have to make a reservation because they're more popular in the area because they're actually like semi-authentic Italian. So we were thinking about what to do, and even though we hadn't had Italian in a long time, my wife says, I'm feeling Asian. I said, all right. So we go to this Asian place. It's not really Asian place. It's a sushi place. But they also do a few other things like chicken teriyaki and things like that. But they are literally the definition of a hole in the wall. They are in a strip mall where everything in the strip mall looks like something, you know, you would never expect to be a good restaurant there. There's like physical therapy building. To the left, there's like a nail salon. Further left, there's like a burger place. You know, it's all things you would never think. Like, why would there be a good sushi place in a strip mall like this? Okay, but they are literally the best sushi place here. We've tried all these different places. You know, especially during the pandemic when you're stuck at home, we were ordering and stuff. This is the best one. They're just outstanding. First of all, if you order chicken teriyaki, it's fresh. It has a char on it that tastes amazing. And unlike other chicken teriyaki places, they don't overcook the chicken where it's more dry. It's juicy, tender, full of flavor, but it has a char on the outside too, which is so good. So we ordered 2 kinds of sushi. One was a combination of like almost everything. It had shrimp tempura, crab, avocado, tobiko, and either one or another kind of fish, either salmon or tuna, raw on top of it. And then on top of that, it had like some kind of a sauce, like a mayo sauce or something like that. Not mayo, but like, you know, orangish, had like flavor to it, a kick to it. So that one was like everything together, like every kind of flavor you could think of in sushi all in one. The other one we got was so unique. It was amazing. So raw tuna, but spiced to be very spicy, okay? Then wrapped, then you got the rice, and on top of that, another piece of raw tuna, not spicy, and on top of that, they called it like a special spicy sauce, all right? So first of all, the first one that we had, that was everything. Oh my God, you put it in your mouth, you taste so many flavors. You're like, oh, the sweetness of the crab, the warmness and crunchiness and flavor of the tempura shrimp, the savoriness of the fish that's in there, and then you get a little bit of spicy kick from the sauce that's on there. Just like, oh, it's delicious. It's absolutely amazing. It's like every flavor you could want. But as good as that sounds, all right, the other one that we had was the best sushi I've ever eaten, all right? But hands down, and I've had different kinds. I've had raw, cooked. This one was the best one, the tuna one. So it's tuna on tuna, essentially. So the first thing you do, this is the one that has the spicy tuna in the middle, then it has the roll of rice and everything, and I believe inside there's a piece like a cucumber, and then on top there's the other piece of raw tuna with the sauce. So you put this in your mouth, and you start to chew, and immediately you have strong tuna flavor. Now recently, if you watched my content a couple weeks ago, I actually had a seared tuna banh mi sandwich from a Vietnamese restaurant. And I told you guys it was the first time I had uncooked tuna, and it was really weird. I was like, man, this tastes very odd to me. I've never had it before. I only had it in other kinds of sushi, but I never actually had like a mouthful of tuna, right? So, yes, we did use chopsticks. This particular restaurant only has chopsticks. They won't give you utensils unless you specifically request them. So, you put it in your mouth. The first thing you taste, obviously, a mouthful of tuna flavor. And it's good, but it's very fishy. So for the first couple seconds, it's good, and then you're like, man, now it's going to be too much tuna. But then what happens is, as you start to chew, you get a bite of whatever, I think it was cucumber, but I'm not certain, but I think it was refreshing. Whatever the crunchy vegetable was in there, it was very refreshing, okay? So I'm like, that's good, because you're just about to be overwhelmed by the tuna flavor, and then boom, you get a refreshingness to it, okay? But then, just as you think you're done, because you continue to chew before you swallow, all of a sudden, the spiciness of the spicy tuna in the middle hits your mouth in the back of your tongue. So you're getting fish flavor in the front of your mouth with a cooling sensation, and all of a sudden you get a burningness that comes through your mouth, and it's like fucking perfect. I actually was saying to Kaz, like, this is like a timed release of flavors. I've never eaten anything in my life that was a timed release of flavors. It's designed to taste differently while you chew it. I couldn't believe it.